Yeah, it's hard to overstate what a horrible ally the current Israeli government, Netanyahu, has been to the United States, because we just backed them on everything through the years, and definitely are still backing them on this. Keep in mind, most of their weaponry they're using in Gaza has come from the United States through the years that they're now implementing. That more will likely be coming. The U.S. parked 2 warships off the coast of in the region to kind of show a force to, because basically every country in the region wants to attack Israel at this point. So the only thing between us and Israel being wiped off the map is essentially that the U.S. is continuing to back Israel in exchange for that kindness we've bestowed upon Netanyahu's government. He has not listened to a single thing the U.S. has ever said when it comes to Gaza. So we've been asked to reduce civilian casualties. There are now more children have been killed in Gaza in the first 4 months of the war than all wars combined for the last 4 years. So it took 4 months of Israeli shelling, bombing, and now starving civilians. 50% of the population there is children. So let's be clear, when they do this, they're doing this to children. It's just never ending, right? I mean, you go down a list of what's the most destructive bombing campaign in modern history. Gaza. What's the fastest we've seen people go from normal to starving? Gaza. And you just kind of go down the list of like where all this, the big numbers that are occurring, it's all in Gaza. And the U.S. continues to stand by Netanyahu. I know that's a strained relationship, but end of the day, until we pull out the weaponry, until we like start doing some tough love there, they're just going to keep doing whatever the heck they want to do. So this is interesting, the airdrops. So airdrops is something that you only do in countries where you, like, say you're trying to help people, and we haven't done this in Ukraine, but in theory, if there's people in occupied Russia parts of Ukraine and you want to get food to them, you would do an airdrop. So you do it in places where the enemy isn't allowing food to get in. You don't do it in places where your top ally, where you're the the top ally, and they're just flat out being jerks and won't let aid cross the border. So then we resort to, and other allies that resort to doing these aid drops, which are highly inefficient, by the way. We've already seen them kill some kids because they've landed the parachutes operating on kids. And so it's, any one of these aircraft is carrying less than the typical truck, and you're doing this, it's a much more expensive price point to get the food to people. It's not efficient. It's very sporadic. It's something. I'm glad we're doing something, but the one thing we need to do is say, if you guys don't open the freaking border and start letting food aid and stop sending back stuff that's basic medical supplies, then we're done. You guys are on your own. We just need to do some tough love there, because this is ridiculous. And you just keep hearing the same stuff over and over again. We're working on them. There's ways we can do this. And like, we're months in now, folks, and this is still going on. And it's just disgusting. It just feels, I can say as an American, I feel really unhappy that we were supporting this, what Netanyahu is doing there. Totally get Israel's need to defend themselves. Everyone gets that, but that does not give you the free pass to absolutely annihilate a population of civilians and children. So that's where we're at. Yeah, it's gross. It's disgusting.
Absolutely. And just watching, I mean, I've seen footage of the airdrops. I mean, you're getting great big containers of stuff just dropping into the sea as well. So you're reliant on the actual people on the ground,
Right.
being able to get to them as well and take them back to shore. It's really not efficient that way at all. So
it's Hunger Games, survival of the fittest type stuff too. Where like the people rushing there are the ones that are in the the bigger, stronger folks, and everyone's starving. You just not, the likelihood of the food reaching the most needy is suspect at best. So
absolutely, yeah. And the US has also announced plans to build a temporary port to get food into Gaza as well. Now, what's that going to look like?
this is interesting. So I mean, again, you could just have Netanyahu open the border so the trucks can drive across. It's going to take months to really get it functional. And again, my big question point is, it's still going to be controlled by Israel. So like, we're going to put this port in. It's going to be their soldiers, most likely, that are determining what food comes in and how it's distributed. And there's still issues with them bombing the food coming in. And just the day right before we went on the air, Israel attacked a UN distribution center in Rafah, and that was an area they weren't supposed to be targeting. That's another one of our sort of red lines we're not really enforcing. So yeah, it's something, it's good, but we can drive it across the border too. Like,
Absolutely.
so this is going to take months. So I think the Biden administration is just trying to like navigate this politically, but at the expense of the folks of Gaza for sure. I mean, there's stuff we can do to really put pressure on Netanyahu and get him out of power, and do some, again, if their world looks a lot different if we're not backing them. We can move our little aircraft, our big aircraft carriers out of the region. We can say, if you guys don't clean up your act, you're on your own. And that would most likely help topple Netanyahu, whose popularity rate there's like 20%. He's not popular in Israel either. So yeah, there's stuff that needs to be done, that and they just need to they need a coming to realization moment that this is not your ally. The Israeli government, you can support the people of Israel, but none of this is helping them at all. This is just going to be, like the U.S. learned in Iraq and Afghanistan, every terrorist you kill, you then open your stuff up to angry brothers, cousins, sisters that end up joining the fight too. So this is it's just not going well for anyone. But the U.S. and UK as well needs to wipe our hands on this, get away from it, and yeah, if they're not responding, it's sorry, I need to stop ranting. It's also really weird that you give aid to a country that won't listen to you. We don't do this in Ukraine, right? Ukraine has been very well behaved as they because they know if there's corruption, if there's issues, the aid's going to get canceled. They know if they're targeting civilians, the weaponry will not be provided by the United States. So, and UK. So this is something that this is there's normal ways of doing things, and we've just completely lifted all those for Israel for whatever reason, and it's not going good for us. It's not going good for them, and certainly not going good for the 50% of Gaza that is kids and people under 18.